The following is a production of Stevenson Media. The Houston Sports State of the Union podcast is brought to you by Stephen Terry Pest Elimination. Call 713-477-0047. If it's scary, call Stephen Terry. Want to tip the host? Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Get a free Houston Sports State of the Union podcast t-shirt with a donation of $50 or more. The Houston Sports State of the Union podcast is brought to you by Upscale Roofing. Our quality is through the roof. Visit upscaleroofingtx.com for a free quote.
This is the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Houston Sports Nation, Nick Stevenson.
My goodness, thank you so much. Please be seated. My fellow Houstonians, welcome to this Houston Sports State of the Union address for the week of October 20th. I am the self-appointed president of Houston Sports Nation, Nick Stevenson. As always, there are a million different things you could be doing this evening, but you chose to spend a little bit of time with me, and I appreciate it. On tonight's show, it has been a week of tough losses. The Texans lose to the Packers 24-22, and the offense looked terrible. Speaking of terrible looking offenses, not even the presence of the president of Houston Sports, not even the presence of the Twin Toros could keep the Rockets from dropping their home opener and season opener to the Charlotte Hornets. Drake? Anyways, the Rockets blew an 18-point lead, losing 105-110. We will break that down and the Houston Texans loss, and we will look forward to the Texans game versus the Colts this Sunday. The Rockets also have a shot at redeeming themselves tonight. They're actually playing right now, and they're currently up 11-7 against the Memphis Grizzlies. If you guys are watching that, you can hang out with me and we'll watch it together. But that's what we got going tonight. As always, I appreciate you guys for checking out the show live. Really quick, let me remind you of the ways you can continue to support this show. One of them you are doing right now. You're watching, you're listening. Hopefully now you're sharing with your friends and family. Remind them to please hit follow, hit like, hit subscribe, wherever they get their podcast fix. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, the app formerly known as Twitter, and Kick. But only people who watch me on Kick apparently are bots and spammers. Oh, well. You can find me there, though, if you're into Kick and you want to watch the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. I really appreciate it. That's the number one way you can support me. Also, if you want to leave me a tip, if you're watching the video, there is a QR code in the corner there. In the description of this video or audio that you're listening to, there is a link to my tip jar. Anything you leave me will go directly back to this show so I can continue affiliate links for Houston Sports fan gear and for the equipment that I am using to bring you this fine podcast this evening. If you purchase any of those things with those Amazon affiliate links, I will get a little bit of change from that, and they will be much, much appreciated. Also, I have one more sponsorship spot available. If you're interested in sponsoring the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast, I would love to represent your business. Hopefully, Stephen Terry of Stephen Terry Pest Elimination and of Upscale Roofing would tell you that I'm doing a fine job of representing his companies, and I would love to do the same thing for you and grow our businesses together. So those are the ways you can support the show. I thank you guys so much for being here. Why don't we go ahead and get started? First off, with the state of the Houston Texans. All right, guys, once again, State of the Houston Texans brought to you by Stephen Terry Pest Elimination. He is the man you need to call to get rid of all your pests, whether it's critters trying to get into your home, whether it's those creepy crawlers that are bugging you, whether it's those god-awful mosquitoes that have become a year-round staple in the state of Texas. Stephen Terry is the man to call to get rid of them. You know, Stephen Terry understands sometimes some guys want to do things themselves. That's why he offers DIY kits as well. Anything you need for pest elimination needs, whether if you're in the Houston or Southeast Houston area and all surrounding areas, you need to call Stephen Terry at 713-477-0047. Let him know you heard about him on the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. He will give you 10% off of your initial service. His prices are already great, so why not take another 10% off? And I promise you, he's going to get the job done. If it's scary, call Stephen Terry. One more time, that's 713-477-0047. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you, Stephen, for continuing to support this show. I'm blessed to have you as a friend and as a sponsor. And thank you very much, Ricky. I see you in the comments. Absolutely. Let's go. Unfortunately, we're going to start talking about a Houston Texans loss. The Texans fall to the Packers 24-22. On the outset, if I told you, hey, the Texans are missing many key players on defense. Nico Collins is out for a week. There's a lot of players that have been dealing with injury that maybe are still playing and playing through them. A lot of the players on the offensive line. You might say to yourself, 24-22, not too bad. As a matter of fact, if you watched the show last week, I predicted them to lose 24-21. I'm not happy about the fact that I was close or that I was almost right. Because if you watch this game, they had every opportunity that there was to win this game. And I owe the defense an apology. I thought they would struggle defensively against Jordan Love and the potent Green Bay Packers offense. In fact, the defense played more than well enough to win this game. It's very rare for a defense and special teams to come up with 3 takeaways. The Texans did not get 1 turnover away, and you still lose the game. You got to try pretty hard to do that. And I'm telling you right now, this Texans offense, they definitely tried pretty hard. They only came up with 55 yards passing in total. I think they ran the ball for 142. Joe Mixon was excellent. If it's not for Joe Mixon and the defense, this is probably a blowout, to be honest with you. The offense was just terrible. And the number one reason the offense was terrible was because of the offensive line. No pun intended, but it was offensive. It was just really, really bad. They continue to struggle in pass protection. Simple stunts seem to be confusing them. Somehow tight ends who don't really want to be blocking in the first place keep ending up going one-on-one with the other team's finest pass rusher. It just looks bad. And CJ Stroud, he has less than 3 seconds to get rid of the ball. He's constantly being flushed out, and teams are figuring out that if you flush him to his left rather than to his right, he's a lot less accurate. And right now, he doesn't have Nico Collins to save him in those flushing to the right plays like they have been doing throughout the season. It was just bad, man. No part of the offense looked competent at all. And that's got the microscope right now on the offensive play caller, who is Bobby Slowick. You guys know me. I'm a very patient fan, and I've been defending Bobby Slowick all this time. Like I really have. I've been trying my best to calm the Houston Texans fans who, after week 1 and 2, were already calling for him to be fired. And I've told you guys, we don't know if he's calling a good game or not if the players can't execute. Now, maybe the players aren't executing because he's doing something wrong. Is the scheme too complicated? Is he asking them to do too much pre-snap? I have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am a X's and O's savant. I just know that whatever they're doing is not working. And the patience of the fans is already wearing thin. That's not surprising. The media is starting to ask questions. And what I've noticed, though, is everybody loves DeMeco. He was a beloved player here. He's a super nice guy. The media is having a hard time really asking him tough questions. In this game, not only did you have a bad offense, but you could argue there were some very questionable coaching decisions that were made by DeMeco Ryans. Number one that comes to mind for me is I believe you hadn't gotten the lead yet. I believe they were still down whenever the possible backwards pass happened. You guys will have to forgive me because I didn't put in my notes what portion of the game that was in. But you could have had a 4th turnover, possibly. Jordan Love throws what appeared to be a backwards pass that was dropped and recovered by the Texans. The officials automatically called it an incomplete pass, which I really wish they wouldn't have done that. If I'm a referee, I would rather err on the side of caution, call it a fumble, call it a recovery. That way, you're going to review it because all turnovers are reviewed. And if for some reason it's not a backwards pass, well, then the review is going to correct you. I think that's what a good official would do on a borderline call. Of course, you know, these officials have egos, and maybe this particular official just knew for sure that that's not what happened, that it was 100% a forward pass. But at minimum, and he admitted so after the fact, DeMeco Ryans should have challenged that play. Because on the very next play, I think the Packers thought, man, the Texans are probably going to challenge this play, because they probably should have, because they hurried to the line. The defense was discombobulated. I don't even know if D'Amico Ryans was thinking about challenging the call at the time. He's over there yelling at the defense. More than likely, he's yelling at, I'm forgetting his first name, the cornerback, Ross, who was filling in for Kamari Lassiter. He immediately gets burnt on a touchdown the very, very next play. And this is all avoided. Number one, if you challenge the previous play, maybe D'Amico's not paying attention. He's trying to get the defensive play in, but he obviously sees something wrong with the defensive, the way the defense is set up. So why not call a timeout there then? Obviously, the Packers are hurrying in that situation because they don't want you to challenge the previous play, because maybe even they saw, when you watch the replay, it appears that it was a backwards pass for sure. So that was a misstep by D'Amico Ryans, and we understand, once again, he's a beloved former player. He's a great guy. The media is having a hard time. Nobody asked him that question directly after the game. I think he got asked the next day, but I don't remember anybody from the media asking right after the game what was up with that. They kind of hinted that they didn't like the play calling on the very last drive of the game, where the Texans had to settle for a field goal rather than go for a touchdown. Now, me and Ruben debated this on the Twin Toros podcast, not the most recent episode, but the episode before that on ESPN Houston. You guys check out the Twin Toros podcast. We actually just dropped a new episode. It's a preview for the Colts game. We dropped that a little bit earlier today. So after this show, why not flip over to 713 Houston Sports and watch the Twin Toros podcast? But we debated about the play calling at the end of the game. My contention was, I have no problem with you running the ball on first down and running the ball on second down. Your point of doing that in that situation is get the Colts to run out of timeouts. They had 3 timeouts. You get a first down on an amazing catch to Xavier Hutchinson. Shout out to him. It was very Nico-esque. It was a great catch. You got the first down. I believe Ruben said that on 10 first and 10s, Bobby Slowick ran the ball 9 times. That's stupid. I don't think he should have done that. I think that's extremely predictable. However, what I did say is, in that scenario, in the fourth quarter, less than 2 minutes, you absolutely run the ball. And in that situation, don't call simple, predictable play calls, but everybody in that situation should know that you're running the ball. And the good teams, when the defense knows you're running, you run it anyway. We've seen the Texans do it in some of these games that they've closed out at the end. Is if Joe Mixon's in. For some reason, they can't run the ball with anyone else, and it's probably because the offensive line's terrible. But you run the ball on 1st and 10, and you get a loss. To me, that says you absolutely run the ball on 2nd down. I don't care that you got a loss. And the thing is running the ball is the only way you moved the ball the entire game. So you run on 1st down, you run on 2nd down, you make them use 2 of their 3 timeouts. Where the Texans messed up, and I don't know if this is D'Amico's call or if this is Bobby Slowick's call. Ultimately, I believe it should fall on the head coach to make this call. But Bobby Slowick decides to throw the ball on 3rd and 15 and throws a route to the sideline that ends up being incomplete. Even if it was complete, Tank Dell would have gone out of bounds, and the clock would have stopped, and Green Bay still has a timeout. And them having that timeout completely changes the way that they run their last drive of the game. Long story short, you have an opportunity to pick Jordan Love off for a 3rd time in that last drive. You don't get it. You miss that opportunity. They get in field goal range, and they kick a field goal to win the game with a guy who was sitting on the couch last week in McManus. Game over. When you lose a tough game like that, and you executed and you played hard, and the other team just beats you, you can deal with that. But Houston Texans fans are not happy about this loss because that's not what happened. They looked terrible on offense. The defense put them in really good position to score the points that they did score, thank goodness. Like I said, if it wasn't for the defense and special teams, this would have been a blowout, even with the 2 interceptions. I mean, Jordan Love is more Brett Favre than he is, who's the other guy? Aaron Rodgers at this point. He's just gonna chuck the ball. I believe Dan Orlovsky called it reckless the way he plays. He's not lying. He's extremely reckless with the ball. He's got a little bit of Josh Allen in him. But man, when he connects, when he makes those throws and they work out, I mean, he's played 2 less games than everybody else pretty much, and I think he leads the league in touchdowns. So he's going to sling the ball. You know that's going to happen. And we said in the preview before that game, he's going to give you a couple. You've got to take advantage of it. How do you get 2 interceptions, almost a third, and a fumble recovery on special teams, and you still lose? Man, that was a huge opportunity on the road to beat a really good football team while you're shorthanded and to make a statement. But the Texans didn't make that statement. Instead, now everybody's asking questions about, is this team legit? Well, they're going to have an opportunity to, we have short memories here as fans and in the NFL. Every week, the momentum can swing heavily with one game in the NFL. And you have an opportunity against a team you should beat in the Indianapolis Colts. They're not good. I know they're 4-3. They have a really good running game. Their defense is not great against the run. Their defense is not great at getting to the quarterback. Not anyone on their team has more than a sack and a half. You are getting DeForest Buckner back. If you're a Colts fan and you're happy about that, you're really happy about that because you're going up against this Houston Texans offensive line that's been terrible. All eyes are going to be on them. All eyes are going to be on Bobby Slowick. For me, all eyes are going to be on D'Amico Ryans. Also, you've got to make some of these decisions better, especially in the end of close games. I asked Ruben the question if he believed that perhaps D'Amico Ryans calling the defensive plays is distracting him from making good decisions late in tight games. He says he wants D'Amico to keep calling the plays because this is a top 5 defense. And that's true. And I say right now, there's no need to change anything. At the end of the day, all this disappointment we're talking about, and the Texans are 5-2. They're still in the lead of the division. You got to win this game to keep to keep the Colts at arm's distance and to maintain your lead in the AFC South. And also just to get some morale back in the city with the team. I know the team's not giving up. I don't expect the team to be panicking the way that the fans and the media seem to be a little bit. I was listening to Joe George and Paul Gallant today. Love those guys. They do a great show. But it was all doom and gloom. Like, they just didn't believe this was ever going to get any better. It has to get better. I told Ruben that on the Twin Toros today. It can't get much worse. And when I say get better, there's no personnel coming in. There's no trade. There's not going to be an increase in talent. The talent that the Texans have just has to play better. And hopefully, similar to the way that they cleaned up the penalties and all of the things that they were doing, by making those mental mistakes and mental errors, hopefully they can clean it up with these just terrible, terrible scheme and blocking, passing. They ran the ball really well. You do have to give them some credit for that, but I think a lot of the credit goes to Joe Mixon. He's just a beast. He's got 3 100-yard games. This is the first time in the D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick era that the Texans have had a 100-yard rusher and did not win the game. Here's the thing. On paper, before the game, you probably should have lost it. They were 3-point underdogs, but after the game, it's a game you should have lost, but you also could have won. And that's what makes it sting a little bit. But you have an opportunity to wipe all that pain away if you put a beat down on the Colts in H-Town, at NRG Stadium. Hopefully it's going to be rocking. You guys make sure you go say what's up to 713 Houston Sports, Mr. 713 Ruben Calavillo. If you're at the tailgate, my brother will be at the game as well. I'm pretty sure he'll be out there tailgating. So y'all say what's up, man. We're going to keep repping H-Town, and we're going to stay positive. We just want to see this team get to places it hasn't been before. And right now, it's not looking like one of those teams, but there's still a lot of season left. So hopefully they can continue to improve. I am guessing that they are going to win 21-17. If anybody wants to comment on this video before the game, whether you're watching it live or watching it after the fact, let me know if you believe that this is a must-win game. It is and it isn't. Like, obviously, it's not literally a must-win game, but if the Texans are going to be the team that we hope they are, the team we thought they were, you definitely have to win this game. You're at home. Anthony Richardson is not good. Let's take a look at the quarterback matchup really quick. Now, he's played fewer games because he's been hurt. But even when he has played, he's got 783 yards. He got 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, compared to CJ Stroud, who has 1,663 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The quarterback matchup, it's not even close. If you can protect CJ and give him some time to get the ball to his receivers, and if Bobby Slowick get some quick hitting plays, man. Let's get some plays where the where the offense, the offensive line, help them out. Let's get some quick hitters. Let's get the ball to Tank Dell early. Get the ball to Stephon Diggs early. Even Dario Gumbawale's been good in the past game. Let's figure out a way to build the confidence of this offensive lineup, and maybe they'll start playing better, because it's got to be demoralizing to just keep getting your ass kicked every single night. So the state of the Houston Texans, it's still good. They have the division lead. They're playing not their best football, but they're still playing winning football. And when you are a fan of an NFL team, that's really all you can ask for. The Houston Rockets are currently down by 3, 27-30. It's still the first quarter with 2 minutes to go. Let's go ahead and get to the state of the Houston Rockets. The state of the Houston Rockets is brought to you by Upscale Roofing. Stephen Terry and his family are running 2 great companies, and I am so thankful for having them both sponsor this show. Listen, your roof is the first line of defense against all of the elements. You want to make sure it's in good shape, and you want to make sure the right people are taking care of it. 2 guarantees with Upscale Roofing. They're going to be honest, and they're going to treat you like family. No, not that weird uncle that nobody likes, but the family you like. They're going to treat you like the family you love. So go to upscaleroofingtx.com, schedule a free inspection, and tell them that the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast sent you. They can't give you any more discount than free. Why not do it? Make sure your roof is in good shape. Go to upscaleroofingtx.com, get your free inspection. Tell them Houston Sports State of the Union podcast sent you. It's Upscale Roofing. Our quality is through the roof. 33-30, Memphis currently leads the Rockets. Reed Shepard just hit a 3. That's good. That's great news. The Houston Rockets had a bad showing in their home debut. Toyota Center was rocking. My wife was wearing her sexy red Rocket shirt. She had them jeans that was fitting just right. Stephen Terry was there. His jeans was fitting just right too. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Okay. Maybe not. Stephen Terry's a good looking guy, man, but it ain't like that. But him and his wife came out, man. We enjoyed their company. They're always a fun time. Ran into my twin Toro, Mr. 713, Ruben Calvillo. It was a perfect night. It was set up to be a perfect night. A new beginning for the Rockets. New players, new season, new $1 million contract extensions for Alperen Şengün and Jalen Green. Same old Rockets. The Rockets had an 18-point lead, and at halftime, I'm feeling good. We're sipping margaritas. We're having a good old time. And then they blow the lead. And at the end, they lost 105-110. Something happened. I think the Houston Texans rubbed their third quarter dookiness all over the Rockets, because the third quarter was terrible in that game. Not only could they not buy a basket, they couldn't buy a rebound, which is supposed to be their strength. They weren't playing great defense. They were getting cooked all over the place, man. It wasn't a great time. It wasn't a great time. I'm sorry. It was a great time, but the game kind of put a damper on things. Yeah. It was really difficult to have your spirits be so lifted. The anticipation of the new season, this team supposed to be a playoff team, and you saw a lot of their old habits showing up. The ball got sticky. It wasn't moving. It looks like they didn't even practice offense sometimes. Jalen Green disappeared for the second and third quarter. Had a great first quarter, had a great fourth quarter. Actually made some really clutch shots towards the end. Alperen Şengün, for some reason, down by 3, decides he's going to just run the entire court by himself, trips over his own foot, and throws the ball out of bounds. And that was pretty much when everybody knew the game was over. So the Houston Rockets do have some issues. And I told you guys, shooting was going to be something that they are streaky at. I think where Ime Udoka messed up, and hopefully he's going to fix that tonight, is he took the bench out way too soon. The bench was actually playing really well. You had some good minutes from Amen Thompson, who actually hit a 3-pointer. He was driving to the basket, getting to the basket, and finishing. That's what he does. Reed Shepard didn't have a great debut, man, but he's a rookie. I'm not gonna give him too much flack for that. Didn't see a whole lot of Cam Whitmore in this game. Saw a lot of Jock Landale because, I guess Steven Adams is hurt, even though he hasn't played a game. That's probably a little bit worrisome. Tari Eason didn't play very much. It was just And the starters weren't great. I mean, Alperin was amazing in the first half. Kind of disappeared in the second half. Like I said, Jalen was really good in the first quarter, really good in the fourth, but those middle 2 quarters, nowhere to be found. A lot of people just feel like Ime got out-coached. I don't even know the coaches. Like, Charlotte is Charlotte, bro. Does anybody care about the Charlotte Hornets? I don't even know their coach's name. I know like 3 of their players. And LaMelo Ball, he looks like he's having a bad game, and you look up and the dude's got like 34 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, this is a guy that everybody who said, no way in hell do the Rockets want to trade for LaMelo Ball. And maybe you're still right. But the dude, he's talented. He made some really good shots, but at the end of the day, the Rockets lost this game more than Charlotte beat them. They just, bad shots, not rebounding. There's this one, like, LaMelo Ball chucks up one of the threes that he chucks up. It doesn't even draw iron. Like, it hits the side of the backboard. Tari Eason is there. He's supposed to be a good rebounder. Nobody goes for the rebound. He just runs in, grabs his own miss, and then kicks it out, swings it around for a pass, then gets another shot at a 3-pointer and makes it. It was just a bad look. It was a bad night. It was the first game. Ime Udoka's got to figure out his rotations. I'm not going to lambast him. It's just disappointing because we were all hoping for a win. We were all hoping for a good start to this season. There's still an opportunity to do that. They're getting ready to go on the road and play San Antonio twice. Hopefully, that'll be a couple of wins for them right there. I don't think San Antonio is ready to be a playoff team, as some people I have seen think. But it was not great, man. It was not a great thing that they kind of disappointed on that opening night. So I'm hoping for a good win tonight. Dylan Brooks had more fouls than he had points. Like, does he even have a place on this team? Should he be on this team? I mean, the man is making bank money, hand over fist. Dude is getting paid. To do what? Is he a better defender than Tari Eason? Like, if he is, it's not by much. Can he make an open jump shot? Not really. Rockets currently tied 38-38 with Memphis. This is a good game, man. I'm gonna have to get off the horn, man, so we can watch this game. Hopefully they get a dub. John Morant's playing. You got every reason. If they win this game, this is a good quality team, so that would be a good quality win. But all in all, it's the first game. It's kind of a sucky week for Houston sports. I still say the state of the union in Houston is strong. We just got to get back to our winning ways, and hopefully tonight that starts with a win against Memphis, and then on Sunday the Texans get a win against the Colts, and then I'll still say, yeah, state of the union in Houston is really, really good, really, really strong. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this show. I'm going to cut it short. We don't really have any Astros news. I have nothing to say about the World Series except bleep the World Series. Nobody in Houston's watching the World Series. With all due respect to anybody in Houston who's tried to even talk about the World Series, nobody in Houston cares. If there was a way both teams could lose, that'd be great. I'd really, really enjoy that. It's probably not possible, but you wish it was. So yeah, no Astros news, no Cougars news. I want to thank you guys so much for joining the show. Let me remind you one more time of the ways you can continue to support one you've been doing this entire time. You watched. Hopefully you'll listen later if you didn't get a chance to watch. And you share with your friends, your family. You remind them to follow, like, subscribe, and wherever they get their podcast fixed. The audio for this show will be available within 30 to 45 minutes after this live is over. There's a tip jar. Got a QR code right here. If you guys are watching the video, there will be a link in the description. If you guys would like to leave me a tip, I will gladly accept that. A tip of $50 or more will get you a Houston Sports State of the Union podcast t-shirt. Make sure you screenshot that you made that donation and you send it to me via email at hsstateoftheunionpod@gmail.com. If you got my phone number, you can text it to me if we're tight like that. But yeah, let me know that you made that donation and I will send you a Houston Sports State of the Union podcast t-shirt, hat, tote bag, whatever kind of swag you want. I got you, boo. I got you, boo-boo. And then there's also affiliate links in the description for Houston Sports fan gear. I probably should swap some of that stuff out. We might get some cooler weather, so maybe I'll throw some hoodies, some jackets, some baklavas. I don't know. Something in there for the whatever winter that we're going to have in Houston. And then there's also affiliate links for the equipment I use to bring you this fine podcast. If you're interested in podcasting and you want to know, hey man, his show looks pretty decent, I wonder what he uses. Well, I have all the links in the description, and if you purchase them, I will get a little bit of change from that. And then once again, sponsorship. Thank you so much to Steve and Terry, Pest, Elimination. Thank you so much to Upscale Roofing. You guys are great. Thank you for allowing me to represent your business and helping support my business. And that's what I want to do for you. So if you're interested in sponsoring the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast, I do have one more spot available, and I'd love to talk to you about it. Reach out to me at hsstateoftheunionpod@gmail.com. All right, guys, next week's show is going to be on Wednesday. It's Wednesday before the Rockets game. Next Wednesday is the 30th. I'm going to the Rockets game on the 6th with my pops. It's going to be really fun. We're going to watch the Spurs, and hopefully we're going to watch Wemby get dominated by Alperen Şengün. So yes, next week on the 30th, I'll be doing a Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. I will see you then. In the meantime, I want you to stay 10 toes down for the H. I love you, and good night.
This has been the Houston Sports State of the Union podcast, hosted by Nick Stevenson. Tune in next week for more news and analysis of your favorite Houston teams. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, the app formerly known as Twitter, if that's even really still a thing. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.